Okay, so since I'm not the organizer, I can't record the first part of the meeting. Okay, but then I will just try and break through what we are going to do. Okay, let me start recording again. Okay, and also I might be experiencing some network challenges. If I'm breaking, do let me know so I can realize what I'm saying. Okay, so let's get the introduction to Microsoft Power Apps. And in this module, we are going to look at what is Microsoft Power Platform, the data connectors that we have, pulling it all together. We started with Power Apps and then looking at Power Apps related technologies. And then after that, we will get to summarize the whole module. Okay, so now let's look at lesson number one, which addresses the question, what is Microsoft Power? Okay, so Microsoft Power Platform is a low-code platform that spans Office 365, Edge 365, and standalone applications, which will provide you with innovation anywhere, and will unlock value everywhere. So we'll focus mainly on the thoughts. Can we please mute our mics? Okay. Okay, so as I was saying, we have about four main things that we will be focusing on. Mainly Power BI, which is for business analytics. We have Power Apps, which is for application development. We have Power Automate, which will automate processes we have. We will get to dive deep into this and then look at what it does. And then also we will also look at Power Virtual Agent, which provide an artificial intelligence chatbot. So your chatbot would be your if you go to some websites, you would know, okay, let me make an example by some service provider. You would chat to one of their chatbots whenever you are experiencing some challenges, and also during COVID, for that SRD, you would say on that and you get replies, automated replies, which is kind of an example of what a virtual agent is. It will give you options, you choose, you interact with it, and then it will provide you with answers to whatever you want or options to whatever you want um, achieve. So as I said, we will be looking at this. We'll be looking at this four main tools, but also within them, we will be also connecting them. We will be looking at how to connect data, how to look at artificial intelligence builder, and we'll be looking at where to store that data, which is Microsoft Database, previously known as Common Data Service. And then also, if you want your applications to be exposed to the public, we would be using what we call this AI builder let users and developers to add artificial intelligence capabilities to the workflow and the Power Apps that they create and use. And then let's move along to looking at how to build and consume solution apps and mobile. Okay, so building and consuming solutions for web and mobile using Power Apps. So you would be able to build highly customized tasks, role-based, and data from one or multiple sources. Right, and also because we are looking at how to build and consume solutions for web and mobile with Power Apps, let's just look at what is Power Apps. So Power Apps provides a rapid, low-code development environment for building custom apps for business needs. It has services, connectors, and a scalable data service and app platform, which is called Microsoft Dataverse, to allow simple integration and interaction with existing data. And Power Apps will enable the creation of web and mobile applications that run on all devices. So you can create one application and then it will be able to run on all the devices on your desktop, or your laptop, or your tablet, as well as your phone. As you can see on our screen there on our right side, we can see the application that's available on all three screens there, tablet, mobile phone, as well as your desktop, right? You can generate a immersive model-driven apps starting from your data model and business processes, and then also you can consume fully accessible apps across web and mobile, and then you can they can be embedded or standalone or on any devices. So embedded will be applications that you would include maybe in for an example, an automated teller machine. Okay, in an automated teller machine, you would create an application that would be embedded there, or you can embed it in some sort of you already have an application that's running, but then you approvals. Okay, so in a simpler term of describing Power Automate, let's look at a simple process that we can be doing. Let's say you want to apply for leave in a company, okay? And then the process that has to be followed is that you have to first go to your manager, or rather your project manager, and then the project manager will then approve. And then once he has approved your leave, you will then go forward maybe to HR and say, okay, I've requested a leave, my project manager has approved. And then HR, based on whether you have leave days or not, they will then get to approve as well. Okay, other companies may have various steps. They could be less, they could be more. So think of it this way. So every time you want to apply for a leave, you have to now go to one person, and then after going to this person, you have to go to that other one. That can be tedious, right? So you can use Power Automate to automate that process. So what you would do, you would use Power Apps to create just a smaller app where an employee will just go and say, apply for a leave, and then provide the dates, right? And then once you click that apply button, and then based on whether your project manager approves or disapproves, if the project manager approves that you can go for leave, then the application will automatically be sent to HR. And then HR will look at whether you have days to take off or not. and then if you have days, they can approve, and then do we have any questions? Because I hear someone is speaking. Okay. Please, guys, let us mute our mics. And I see someone is sharing their screen. Prophet, please. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
No, we can't.
Can you see my screen?
No, we can't see it.
Please confirm if you can see my screen. A thumbs up will do.
No, we can't see it.
No, sir.
Guys, can you see my screen?
No, sir.
Prophet, you keep on sharing your screen. Please don't share your screen, because whenever you try sharing while I'm sharing, it will just disconnect. So Prophet, please stop sharing your screen, because I'm also sharing my screen on this other side. Okay. Okay. Please confirm if you can see my screen.
No, we can't.
Okay. I need to switch networks. Okay. Am I audible, colleagues?
Yes, we can hear you, but we can't see your screen.
Okay, let me reshare my screen now. Prophet, please stop sharing your screen. Can you guys see my screen now?
No, sir.
Okay, awesome. Is that a yes or no? I'm not sure if I really got the response.
No, sir. I can't see your screen, sir.
Remove this person. Okay, let me reshare. Please confirm if you can see my screen now.
No, sir, we can't.
We can't see your screen, sir.
Okay. Okay, let me see with my other device. Okay. I guess at this point my screen is just highlighted. You can only see my profile, but not my screen. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Um, just give me a few minutes. Okay, you can take specific number of days for leave. So in this instance, if you have a leave application app, you would have built it on Power Apps, obviously automated it using using it Power Automate. Now, to make your program manager's job easy as well as HR easy, you can build reports and then look at the days that the employee who's applying for leave has. Also, you can also look at their performance. Let's say you have 5 projects. Power BI can track that, okay, this user has 5 projects, and then out of 5 projects, maybe he has completed maybe 3 of those, and then he's remaining with 2, and then those 2 maybe he has to take about maybe 10 days or 30 days to finish those projects. So it gives your project manager some sort of insight on whether to approve the leave or not. And then also you can, in Power BI, you can also pull the data whether the employee has already applied for leave before, has it taken leave days, how many days were they, and then also are they productive, are they likely to finish their work before before going on leave, by looking at all the various employee performance data that's in Power BI. So you can connect to all your data and get a consolidated view across your business through a single pane of a glass. So as you can see here, you can also use it on mobile, on your tablet, as well as on your laptop or desktop. As you can see, that's some sort of a overview or a dashboard that you can see. You can see pie charts, graphs, and all the visualizations that you might want to see. And then you can create an ad hoc analysis, live broadcast, and interactive reports that are easy to consume on the web and across mobile devices. And then you can build smart apps by infusing insight from your data and drive actions. Drive actions with power of the Power Platform. Okay, and now let's move along to virtual agents. Now, Power Virtual Agents will enable anyone to create powerful chatbots using a guided, no-code graphical interface without the need for data scientists or developers. And Power Virtual Agents addresses many of the major issues with chatbot building. It eliminates the gap between subject matter experts and the development teams building the chatbots. And then it also removes the complexity of exposing teams to the nuisance of conventional artificial intelligence and the need to write complex code. It minimizes the IT efforts required to deploy and maintain a custom conventional solution by empowering subject matter experts to build and maintain their own conversational solutions. So think of it this way: we still are on that. We are still on that leave application app. Now, how can we embed that? So because we are looking at these 4 main things that make Power Platform, right? So we've looked at building our leave application with Power Apps, automating all the processes with Power Automate, looking at the reports, whether the user has leave days and as well as their performance using Power BI. Now we are trying to also include Power Virtual Agents into our application. How can we do that? So let's say I'm an employee, and then the leave days that I'm allowed to take are about maybe 20 days. And then already I've taken maybe let's say I've taken 3 days, I've taken 2 days, I've taken 1, I've taken just quite a number of them. And then at this moment, I'm not sure if my leave days are already over 20 or less than 20. So I can add my virtual agent. And then what my virtual agent will do is that I will just maybe say hello, and then it will give me all the possible responses, and then I will just maybe select that I want to check my remaining number of leave days that I can take. Okay, and then it will just go and pull data, make all the calculations, and give me that, so that whenever I want to apply for my leave application, now I know, okay, I have maybe 5 days remaining out of my 20 days, of my 20 leave days, right? So then when I apply, then I know, okay, I'm applying maybe for less than 5 or for the maximum of 5 days. So that's how now AI can help us in this leave application app that we are trying to build. But then you can use it obviously for various things, right? Let's say now you have an emergency, and then, or rather, let's not try and apply it here on the leave applications. But then there are a lot of chatbots that we are aware of. For instance, those who use Vodacom, they would know that there's a virtual chatbot called Toby. It can help you with checking your balances, loading airtime, viewing your account. If you have a contract with Vodacom, you can pay your account using the help of Toby. He can provide you with a link where you can go and pay, and then you can also check your balances. You can check how much do you owe your service provider. He can help you with buying data. He can help you with many things. So then my point is that with this virtual chat, with this Power Virtual Agent, you can do quite a number of processes all at once. And then most of the time, you won't need to write any code. You just need to provide steps that would be followed. When questions are asked, you should know which sub questions or which replies to provide to your virtual agent. When this question is asked, which answer should be provided there. Okay, and then now let's look at adding intelligence to your apps with AI Builder. Now, AI Builder is a turnkey solution that brings the power of artificial intelligence through a point and click experience. Okay, with Artificial Intelligence Builder, you can add intelligence to your apps, even if you have no coding or data science skills. You can use AI Builder to create custom artificial intelligence models that suit the needs of your business, or you can choose from a selection of pre-built models, right? So then this artificial intelligence builder gives you the ability to make your app to have some sort of artificial intelligence. Let's say on a button, once a person clicks a button, you want to do some complex calculations based on whatever data they have provided you. You can do that with AI Builder. And then also the nice thing is that if you don't know where to start, you have templates or other pre-built models that you can hook into your business. Microsoft has already done the hard work for you for pre-building this model. So all you might need to do is just maybe alter them here and there to make sure that it specifically meets your business needs. Now, let's look at now the storing of your data, right? It's important to build your applications and have all the automations, have all the reports, as well as your virtual agents. But then where you store your data also matters, because an application at some point it has to store its data somewhere, right? And then Microsoft Power Platform provides you with Microsoft Dataverse, previously known as Common Data Service. So in some instances, you would see that they are talking about Common Data Service, and then in some instances, they're talking about Microsoft Dataverse. So don't get confused. It's one and the same thing. Okay, so what is this Microsoft Dataverse? It is a scalable data service and app platform which lets users to securely store and manage data from multiple sources and integrate that data in business applications using a common data model to ensure ease and consistency to users. And the Dataverse is the common currency that enables the components of Power Platform to work together. It's the foundation that enables the consolidation, display, and manipulation of data. Now, the nice thing about this uh, Dataverse is that it will ensure that your data meets your organizational policies, and then it will ensure that your data is the same throughout. So let's say you want uh, user information, let's say their name, their address, their ID, as well as maybe the employee number. If you use Dataverse, it will ensure that all the information that you require, the name you would definitely require, the ID you would definitely require, as well as the employee number you would definitely require in an application, right? So it would make sure that whenever users are entering data, those things are required and data is never saved without those that information being provided. So it ensures that there's consistency in your data. So you can jumpstart apps using a standardized data model with business logic, security, and integration built in, or you can extend to your own needs and integrate across your apps and services. And then it also gives you seamless Dynamics 365, Office 365, Azure integration, augmented with data from industry patterns. So most of these things you won't need to build from scratch. How your data should look like, you won't need to build it from scratch. You would already have some sort of um, a standardized data model that you can use. Okay, so let's say if you have and you want to build a data regarding accounts, so it will, you can just go there and build a table and then just select accounts. It will automatically have all the fields that will be required for accounts, your account number, your branch codes, everything that has to do with accounts, you will have the fields there. And then it will also show you which information should be required. And then also, if you don't require that information, you can make alterations. You can extend also the accounts if you need specific information that's not provided there. Okay, and then let's look at the ability to share your information with users outside of your business. So Power Apps, most of your Canvas apps and your model-driven apps are used within an organization, right? So, for instance, your Leave application, you wouldn't need to expose it to external users. Why would they need to apply for leave if they are not part of your organization, right? So most of the applications that you would be building would be more like internal, will be used internally. But then there are some instances where you have business partners which are outside of your organization. You have customers which are collaborating with your business, and then you also want to expose some sort of information to your customers. Let's say you are providing a service to your customers, and then your customers would want to come and view their invoices in your application. Now you can enable external access using Power Apps portals, which empowers anyone either inside or outside your organization to interact with Dataverse using your portal. So then you can generate invoices internally, but then you can expose them externally so that whoever logs in outside can actually access your Dataverse and then access these invoices, for instance, right? And then you can enable anyone to build responsive website. It enables you can build more like an e-commerce using this portal. You can build an e-commerce without actually the need of knowing your hard programming languages, or rather knowing a lot of logics, because here all you need to know is what do you want to do, how do you want to achieve it, and then most of the work would be drag and drop, styling here and there, and then you are good to go. And then you can integrate it with all your data, let's say from SQL, your database, your Dataverse, your MongoDB, your SharePoint. If you have data in SharePoint, you can integrate it with a lot of things. And also you can link it with LinkedIn, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and a lot more of those. So it's very important to know this tool, especially whenever you want to expose data to external users. If you want to include external users to interact with the application, you should definitely look at portals. Okay, and then now let's look at lesson 2, which we will be looking at data connectors. Okay, so connectors enable you to connect apps, data, and devices in the cloud. So consider connectors as the bridge across which information and commands travel. And with Microsoft, there are more than 275 connectors that you can use, which are enabling all your data and actions to connect cohesively. And example of popular connectors would include Salesforce, Office 365, Twitter services, and many more. Okay. For use in multiple products such as your Power Automate, Power Apps, as well as your Logic apps. Okay, and then also, how can you use it? Let's look at an example of how can you use one connector. So let's say your company wants to check whenever there's a mention of their name in Twitter. Let's say whenever everyone goes, let's say he says hashtag ITThink Smart Solutions or hashtag ITThink Training Academy. I want to know, I want to be notified that, okay, there's a user who used this handle or who used this hashtag, and that it includes your company name. You can use the Twitter connector and Power Automate, and then you would just say, whenever someone mentions our company, just notify us so that we can see. Because sometimes maybe it can be because of they're giving compliments or feedback, or rather they are giving critics, they're criticizing the company. So then you would be aware what's happening, whether users like your company or like your product or not, or they have positive or negative feedback. You can just use Power Automate, right? And we have custom connectors, right? While Power Platform offers more than 200 connectors, you also have the option to build a custom connector. Now, this will allow you to extend your apps by calling a publicly available API or a custom API you are hosting in a cloud provider such as Azure. And API stands for Application Programming Interface, and it holds a series of functions available for developers and connectors. They work by sending information back and forth across these APIs and gathering available functions into Power Apps or Power Automate. Now, because these connectors are function-based, they will call specific functions in underlying services of the API to return the corresponding data. So look at this way. Let's say all these APIs that you have, or all these connectors that you are looking at, are not actually addressing the actually build your own. If you have the resources, why not? You can build your own. You can typically build your own custom, which will be then connecting to your public APIs. So let's say, for instance, I want my application to, or let me see, an example would be, let's say you have a company that runs some sort of or let's look at football. I mean, everyone is familiar with football, right? So if a temperature is at a certain degree, users have to take some sort of water break in between the match, right? So you can use Power Automate to consume, let's say, your weather API, your public weather API, right? So what you would do is that you would create your custom connector that connects to your weather API, and then in your Power Automate, you would automate some sort of alerts to say, okay, if the temperature reaches about 32 degrees Celsius, notify us that, okay, we need to take water breaks in between the games. So even though the match is still on, whenever the temperature reaches 32, everyone will just receive, anyone who's using the app or who has access to this will receive a notification to say, okay, players should now take breaks because the temperature is over 32 or it is 32 degrees. And so they need to take water breaks. Right. Yeah, so you can create custom connectors using 3 different approaches. First is using a blank custom connector. The second one is from an open API definition. The third one, or rather the last one, is from a Postman collection. Okay. And then now let's look at data sources for connectors. Now, there are two types of data sources, which are tabular and function-based. Now, a tabular data is one that returns data in a structured table format, and Power Apps can directly read and display these tables through galleries, forms, and other controls. Additionally, if the data source supports it, Power Apps can create, edit, and delete data from this data source. For an example, tabular data, you would find it in Microsoft Dataverse and SharePoint, as well as SQL Server. So if you're not familiar with what a tabular data is, let's take a list, for example. A list, let's say maybe an attendance register. Attendance register would be a good example. Let's say the attendance register has maybe the email, the name, the course. Because we are doing training, I'm just gonna focus on attendance of this course, and then also maybe we're gonna also check the time that you started attending, as well as the time you ended. You can create some sort of a database which stores these 5 things, which is your name, your email, the course that you're attending, the start time, as well as the end time of your attendance, right? So that's a format that your data will follow. And then whenever a person logs in, that means we will take their name, and then we will include it in a row to say, okay, this person ABC is attending this course, and then this is their email, and then this is their start time, and then this is their end time for attendance. Okay, so that's what we call a tabular data format, a database. Okay, so Power Apps can consume excuse me, Power Apps can consume information from a database that's more like that, or can consume a tabular format data. Also, your Excel, for instance, Excel, it provides you with tables either way. So Power Apps can consume information from Excel. Okay, and then we also have function-based data. Now, function-based data is one that uses functions to interact with the data source. Now, these functions can be used to return a table of data, but they offer more extensive actions, such as the ability to send an email, update permissions, create a calendar event. An example would include Office 365 users, Project Online, and Azure Blob Storage. And both of these data source types are commonly used to bring data and additional functionality to your solution. As you can see, connecting to data sources would allow you to integrate disparate parts of your business solutions to build them out cohesively. Okay. And then let's move on. Let's look at components of a connector. Now, once you have established a data source and configured your connector, there are two types of operations. You can use trigger or action. Now, triggers are only used in Power Automate and prompt a flow to begin. Now, triggers can be time-based, such as a flow which begins every day at 8 a.m., or they could be based off of an action like creating a new row in a table or receiving an email. You will always need a trigger to tell your flow when to run. So as I've said before that we have connectors, right? And then I made an example about Twitter, where you can use a Twitter connector to check whenever your company has been mentioned on Twitter, and then you should receive a notification to say, okay, someone has tweeted about someone has excuse me, someone has retweeted or has tweeted has made a tweet about your company, or someone has mentioned your company in Twitter, right? So we have what we call a trigger. Now, this trigger is the one that makes sure that, okay, whenever there's this mention on Twitter, I want the specific actions to run. So if you mention, then that trigger is triggered. Take a trigger as a trigger of a gun. Whenever you pull the trigger, then a bullet is fired, right? So also in Power Automate, whenever that trigger is triggered, then a list of actions are performed. As I said, the trigger now can be a tweet. So if you do a tweet that mentions your name, then it triggers that flow to send notifications to say, hey, you've been mentioned, and then this is the content of that information, of that mention in Twitter. Okay, and then we have actions which are used in Power Automate, as well as Power Apps. Now, actions are prompted by user or a trigger, and they allow interactions with your data source by some function. For example, an action would be sending an email in your workflow or app, or writing a new line to a data source. So an action, as I said, if we are looking at this Twitter example, once the trigger has been triggered, you can now make an action. Now, what's this action? The action would be sending an alert in a form of an email to say someone in Twitter has mentioned you. So me, if I want to see what's happening, whether everything has been, whether I've been mentioned or not, all I will receive is just an email. But then behind the scene, a trigger would have been triggered, and then an action would have been initiated after that trigger has been triggered. And then that action would be sending an email, and then me, I'll be at the receiving end of that email. So I'll be more of at the end part of the action where I'm getting the email which says, okay, there's a mention, and then this is the information about that mention on Twitter. Okay, and then an example of Power Apps actions in Power Apps would be, let's say you are applying for leave. Once you click apply there, we would need to store that leave application information somewhere. So once you click apply, then it will be stored in a database, Dataverse or SharePoint, and then after that, once you have clicked that, not only is it a trigger to your flow, but it's an action to save that information in your database. So once you click apply, then Power Automate either can be triggered once you click the button, or it can be triggered once the data has been stored in the database. So it depends on the scenario, or it depends on your preference. Okay, so now let's look at pulling everything together. Okay, so the unmatched functionality flexibility of Microsoft Power Platform. We are looking at on how to pull in the data, how to use the connectors as well as the applications. So first we have data and services. Now, which have a native integration to Office 365 services and data sources, which would include your SharePoint list, which would include OneDrive, Excel Online, Office 365 security and compliance, users or identity, and org charts, and many more. And then we also have native integration to Dynamics 365 services and data, which include common data model, Dataverse, model-driven apps and mobile player, portals, customer insights, which is AI Builder, customer invoice. Most Dynamics 365 services are built on Dataverse. Okay, and then also you have native integration to Azure, which would include Azure Active Directory for makers and end users. And then you would have Azure Information Protection. You would have Azure DevOps for application lifecycle management. And we will also have Azure Application Insight for usage monitoring. And then we have many more of those. Okay. And then you would have also connectors. And then your connectors would include your Dropbox, your Azure. We have over 350 connectors. So this gives you the ability to connect a lot of things, okay? And then we have also now the process automation of that data. Okay, and then we can have approvals. Microsoft approvals would be when you are applying for leave, and then your project manager approves. So that automation would give that project manager some sort of information as well as the approve or deny kind of action. You don't specifically need to build it yourself. It's already there. So then you can just consume it. We also have AI Builder, we have the automation of flows, and then we have the automation of process flows, as well as the automation of UI flows. Okay, and then after that, we have rich mobile power apps. And then we have embedded power apps, we have secured web portals, we have mixed reality experience, we have Power Virtual Agent, we have Power BI, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Projects, and Microsoft Dynamics 365, and then we have Microsoft Office 365. So all of this now, they are all the tools that you will need to make sure that you have a powerful application that uses all the required, possibly required technologies that you might want to use, because you have integration with all your data connectors, and also your Microsoft 365, which would provide you with far more much information that you can consume rather than just accessing a database of just a specific information, right? And then also in the middle is where now we have, so here you would take it as our data and services, and then in the middle is when now you automate and then put in intelligence, and then on the top, that's when now you see that's what users interact with, right? So then this is how you pull everything together. You would create a Canvas app or a portal or a virtual agent, and then you would then use automation. You would automate the process, also include AI, and then after connect it to some data source, where now you can make sure that the application interacts with data at the end of the day. Okay, so yeah, as I said, we have data services, which is this one, and we have processes, process automation, as well as user experience. So that's how we will pull everything together. Okay, so now let's look at the we have, you can have it to be powerful alone, but then it can be better if they are all connected together, right? So you can build faster with Microsoft Dataverse, which makes it easier to bring your data together and quickly create powerful apps using Microsoft Dataverse, which is a compliant and scalable data service and app platform that's integrated in Power Apps. And then you can also get a single source of truth across your organization. So as Microsoft Dataverse standardizes your data through the common data model, it's easier to build and run apps using the same data. And because Dynamics 365 applications are natively built on it, you can also build apps without needing additional data integration. So all with the enterprise grade security and manageability of Power Apps. And then you can automate your apps with a business process engine, so which you can guide people through business processes, the start workflow automatically, and provide rules for your data validation using business process flows. And then you can make your apps smarter with visually defined server-side logic that can set default values or provide validation logic, and then you would have built on the foundation of common data model. Now, by defining a set of over 200 standard business tables, the common data model makes it easier for both you and third parties to build apps. Tailor the model to your specific business needs by extending with custom tables as well as columns. Okay, and then that's the end of lesson number 2. We've looked at Microsoft Power Platform, which offers a point and click approach, and which makes it easy for anyone familiar with Microsoft Office to create custom business solutions, data visualization, and automated workflows. It enables users to do 3 key actions on data that helps them drive business: get insight from data, analyze which is a subset of Power BI, drive intelligence business processes via apps they build, um, which is um, AI Builder, and then as well as automation, and then also you have the automate business process, where now you get to automate all your processes. Okay, and then now we also looked at Power BI, and then we've looked at what it does. It helps you to analyze, visualize data on a unified platform with data from internal and external sources. Excuse me. And then we've also looked at Power Apps, which helps you to build and deploy customized apps that works across web and mobile, embedded or standalone on any device. And then we've looked at Power Automate, which helps you to automate workflows from a simple to advanced scenarios. And then we also have Power Virtual Agents, which helps you to create chatbots without any need for data scientists, as well as understanding of data science. Okay, so now let's look at getting started with Power Apps. Now, this takes us to the introduction of Power Apps, right? I will show you guys how to then get to log in so that you can start creating apps with Power Apps. Okay, so let's look at this. So with Power Apps, you can build an app quickly by using the skills that you already have, connect to the cloud services and data sources that you are already using, and share your app, your apps instantly so that co-workers can use them on their phones and tablets. Okay, and then this unit we will explore each part of the following Power Apps components. We will look at Power Apps homepage, which is the app start here, where your app starts, and then whether you build them from data, a simple app, or a blank screen. And then we'll also look at Power Apps Studio, where you develop your apps further by connecting to data, adding, arranging user interface elements, which are known as controls, and building formulas. Okay, and then also we will look at Power Apps Mobile, which runs your app on Microsoft Windows, Apple iOS, as well as Google Android devices. And then we will also get to look at Power Apps Admin Center, where you can manage Power Apps environments and other components. Okay, so what types of Power Apps, what types of Power Apps can you build? We have one, which is Canvas app, two, which is model driven app, and then the third one, which is portal apps, right? Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, so Canvas app, they are more user experience focused, and They're typically task or role-based apps leveraging mesh up data from multiple data sources. We will get to look at this because we're gonna first start building building our apps using Canvas app. And then we have a model-driven app which leverages your organization's data model, relationship, and business processes in immersive and responsive application. And lastly, we have Power Apps, which provides secure data access to internal and external stakeholders. As I've said, being an example where you would want to give access to your where you want to give your customers access to their invoices, and then you know that invoices would need to be securely saved somewhere, right? And also another example would be creating some sort of an application. So most of us are from university, so we know the process that you take to apply, right? So instead of knowing your HTML, your frameworks, your Angular, React, um, all these big frameworks, right? You can practically use Power Apps. I remember just a few months ago, um, here in the R&D, we built something similar using Power. We used Power Portals. Actually, we used Canvas app, but then you can use it with Power Portals where now external people can come and apply. And the nice thing is that most of the things you don't really need to build using code, right? It's more of a drag and drop, and then you might need to add a code here and there where you want to put in some sort of an advanced functionalities, and then after that you are good to go. You would need to hook your Power Apps or your portal to your Power Apps portal app to a domain, and everyone can access it, apply, and also as well as track their application, how far are they with the application, track the application status. Okay, so let's look at the difference, right? Canvas app, it leverages data from different sources, and a model-driven app, it only has a back end, which is Dataverse. So with model-driven app, it's very, very important to know that the data that you are leveraging is from Dataverse. And then with Canvas, you can consume data from anything, from your SQLs, from your SharePoints, from Dataverse itself, from Excel Online. You can consume, you can connect to that data. But then with model-driven app, it's only Dataverse. And then in Canvas app, you generally tasks or screen. You are generally a task or screen focused. So for instance, your Canvas app, you are more focused on, let's say for this example that we've already made, leave application. So I'm focused on just doing that task. I just want to do that application and then I'm done. But the model-driven app is more focused on processes. So let's say you are applying. The first step would be providing your personal information. The second part would be providing your educational information. The third part maybe would be providing your next of kin information. The fourth part would be maybe providing your banking details for tuition. So these are the processes. So with model-driven app, you would build some sort of a process of taking your data. So from taking personal information, you are moving to educational information. So it's sort of a process flow, kind of. And then On Canvas app, you have customized user interface. So you can customize however you want your user interface to look like. You can generally build it and say, I want it to be only for mobile phones. Or you can say, okay, I want it to be for both. And then you have to make sure that however you build it, it will work on both tablet, desktop, as well as your mobile phone. Okay. And then under model driven app, it's responsive. You don't need to take care of whether you want it to be on a mobile, you want it to be on a laptop or a tablet or a desktop. It's automatically responsive. And then Canvas app, we have device interaction. And then on model driven app, we have customizing of existing, or rather customization of existing applications. And then Canvas app, we have the embedding capability. So you can embed it within another app. You can embed it within SharePoint. You can embed it within your own custom application. And then under model driven app, we have data relationship navigation, where you can see the relationship of your data. And then we have security trimming of your UI. Okay, and then Common Data Service is great for your Canvas app, but if all you need is other data connectors, uh, you can use them, right? And then customizing uh, existing apps, you can customize existing apps, especially in your model-driven app. You can customize a pre-built model-driven app, and updates will still work from the provider. Whereas in Canvas app, it's all or nothing. Either you use that pre-built app, or you create your own. Okay. And then we have user personalization, where you can now create dashboards, views, and templates. And then we have your standard UX which is extensibility. Okay. And then let's look at Power Apps. You know I've been going and going. Do you have any questions so far? Any questions, any concerns? Okay, it looks good. Looks like we are good to go. Okay, and then now we are looking at Power Apps building blocks. We have what a Power Apps homepage. Your app would start there. Whether you want to build from data or a sample app or a blank screen, you would choose. And then you also have Power Apps Studio. This is where you develop your app. Um, uh, Further, by connecting to data, adding and arranging user interface elements, which are known as controls, and building formulas. We also have Power Apps Mobile, which run your apps on Microsoft Windows, Apple iOS, as well as Google Android devices. And then we also have Power Apps Admin Center, where you can manage apps, environments, and other components. Okay. So we will get to actually look at the actual thing, but then for now, this is how it will look. On your right hand side, we have that Power Apps homepage. It will essentially look like that. It will let you easily build apps from a sample app, template, or a blank screen. So now let me just try and let me try and show you guys how it looks in real life. Okay, so I would just say my URL would be make.powerapps Okay, and then you would sign in. I would also show you guys how to create this and then how you would get to log in and everything. Okay. Okay, now this is what we call the home page. This is essentially what you see. This is essentially what you see here. Okay. All the apps that you've built will appear here, and along with any apps that that others have created and shared with you. So let's see if I have any other apps. Hey. Okay, so since this is my home page, I would come to apps, or rather I can just scroll down to see all the apps. So as you can see, your apps, these are some of the apps that I've built, and then others, they were shared with me. I didn't necessarily build them. Okay, so as you can see, this one, I'm the one who built it. This one, it was shared with me. I didn't build it, as well as the second one. And then this one, I built it. And then this one, I didn't build. And then also you can see the types of apps that you have. Here we have a model-driven app, and then the rest are your Canvas apps. Okay. And then, yeah, if you want to create an app, you can select where you want to start from. You can start from blank, from Dataverse, from SharePoint, from Excel. So essentially you get to select which data source you'd want to start with. If you already know that, okay, I just want to start from blank because as yet I haven't decided which data source I'm gonna use. You can just say I want to start from blank, and then it will give you those three types of Power Apps that you might possibly want to build. Either you build from a blank canvas app, or you would build a model-driven app, or you would build a portal. Okay, so we would start by creating this one, but then first I just wanted to show you the home page, how it looks like. Okay. Okay, and then now we can confidently move forward. And then we have what we call Power Apps Studio, right? Now, Power Apps Studio is where you can fully develop your apps to make them more effective as a business tool and to make them more attractive. And then we have the left pane, which shows hierarchical view and the controls on each screen. Okay, so what I'm gonna do so that you can see them, I'm just gonna create an app. I don't want to create it from blank, but then let's just create it from blank. It's fine. I'll create the app and then I'll just say PL100 training. And then you can select whether you want to build it for a tablet or a phone. So then if you want to build it for both, then you should just stick for a tablet, and then you will then get to create some sort of a responsive view once you get inside your application. Okay, so there we have it. This is our App Studio. Doesn't look like much, right? But then this is the most powerful thing that you would need, especially from this for this course. You need to actually be familiar with this. You need to know your feet around, how to move, how to maneuver around this whole thing. Okay, so here we have our left pane. This is the one that they're talking about. You have, and then under the left pane, you have some sort of tabs that you can actually go into. So the first one is a tree view. Now, the tree view, so to make my screen a little bit So that I can have room, I'll just click here to minimize this pane because I've already opened this one. So tree view will give you a hierarchical view of your application. So for now, I have screen 1, right? Let me rename it to, let's say it's a home screen. It's a home screen like this. And now I want to add another screen, right? And then this one, I want it to have 3 components like that. Then I can rename this, I don't know, let's say it's maybe about or something. So bear in mind, I'm not actually building an application. I just want to show you what do I mean when I say a hierarchical view, and then how a hierarchical view looks like. Okay. So in here, I just want to insert something to show you what a tree view looks like, and then how does it work. Okay. So if I want to insert something, I can come here upstairs, up here on the ribbon, I can just click insert, or I can just come here. There's a plus also here, and then I can search whatever I want. Let's say I want a rectangle, which is a shape. I can click a rectangle there, and I can search for it and then edit, right? And then for now, I'm just gonna make it to look like that. Let's actually zoom into our app. Okay, so yeah, now we have that rectangle which is part of this. So under this left pane, under tree view, you can get some sort of hierarchical view of your application, all the components that come into your application. So then for now, I can also insert maybe a text label, and then this text label, if I want to change the name, I can just say PL 100 training app, something of this sort, right? And then since I have added stuff from the left pane, now let's look at how then, because you can see that this is very dark. It doesn't, also the color is clashing with this. So I need a color that would be more vibrant. How do I do that? We have what we call a right pane. Now, the right pane is where now you get to style or perform specific actions on a specific component. For now, because I've selected this, I can style it. I can maybe change the color. I can change the font size. I can make it bolder or the font weight, the font style. You know, yeah, I can just do some quite a number of things, right? Because I've selected this, that means I'm working on that. And also it tells you what you are working on. And then also you would want to make sure that your application have well-defined names. So here I would say maybe header label, something of that sort. So that I know, okay, whatever I've clicked here, I know, oh, it's a label. It's a header label, so then you know. And then if I click on the rectangle, it tells you that this is what you're working on. So I can say header rectangle like this. And then either I change the color of my text or I change the color of the background color of my rectangle, right? So then let's opt to change this. I don't know to what color though. Neon colors. Yeah, something else. Okay, let me select that. Okay, it's not bad. Well, some would disagree, but then yeah, something of this sort, right? So then Now I can stretch my my header text because I wanna increase the font. So I want to open it up before I can increase the font. Maybe let's just say it's 20 pixels. I think it's very small. Let's say it's 30. Okay, we have something. Let's make it semi-bold, right? Some would say black doesn't go with, I don't know if that's orange, but then yeah, excuse me, I'm colorblind. Some would say black doesn't go well with orange, right? So give it something, let's give it something like white. Something of that sort. Though for me, I think it's very strenuous to the eyes, but then because we are not really building a lot, let's just now stick to this. So if I come to my tree view, now you can see some sort of hierarchical view of my screen. So if I want to now bring this forward, I can just say reorder and then bring front, which will basically cover my text, but then it sort of gives you an hierarchy on how things are, which one is on top, which one is below that, and also all of those things, right? So now I'm gonna say bring front, and then as you would notice that once I bring it front, it becomes on top. Once this is behind, it goes down. But then once I let me just redo it and then say bring front, you would see that it changes also. The hierarchy changes, so it becomes, because it's the one that's on top, it automatically goes on top, and then since while this is behind, it goes on the bottom, right? So yeah, you should be aware of these things. Okay, we've looked at the left and the right pane. The right pane is where you set options such as the layout, properties, and data sources to a certain control, right? And then we have the middle pane, and we showcase the Canvas app that you are working on. So, I mean, I don't need to talk about it, but then here's the middle pane. So we have left, middle, and right. So in left is where you get to see all the components that are in your screen. You can reorder them, and you can add, and then you can have you can connect your data. You can also include your Power Automate flows here. Yeah, you can have quite a number of things, right? And then here is where now you get to style each and every component that you have. It's not only for styling, right? So you have advanced where you would want to maybe do some advanced stuff. So I will get to add some functionalities. I will add some functionalities as we go. But then for now, actually, let me now let me just add a simple functionality, right? So let me leave this here. I want to add a button. So I'm just giving you guys, don't worry if this would be too much, don't worry, because we will cover it on the next module. Okay, because I like consistency, I will select, now I don't remember which color I selected, but this looks like it. If it doesn't, well, it's fine. So also I'll select a text label. This text label, I want it to be black. And then I'm gonna consume just a few things, right? We'll look at a few functions. Let's just say good day, Philip. Welcome to today's session. Rather, let me just say training session. So basically, I want to have this message, right? But only whenever I click a button. Okay, let me make it a little bit. Aha. I want it to be like this. Let me make it semi-bold as well. I want to see only this once I click this button. So this button, if I want to change the text that's inside, you can just click on it, come to your right pane, and then you would see text. Then under text, that's where you can say there. I will just say attend. Well, it doesn't have a lot of functionalities for now, right? But then you will get to see it. So I want to say once I click attend, I want this text to appear. So that means whenever I come here, I should not see the text, but then once I click attend, I should see that text, okay? So what happens is that we would use something called a variable. Since most of us did some sort of software development, we know what a variable is. If you don't know what a variable is more of a container. Take it as a container. You store a value inside that container, and then you would get to use it somewhere. So because I want to say, whenever I click this button, I want this to be visible. I would just create a variable which has a true or false, which I set which I set my variable to true, and then so that it can show that. So how do I do that? I go to advanced of my button. So as you can see, we have some actions. So this button has an action which is on select. So that means whenever I select this, I want to set something to true, or I want to do something. So that's the action that I want to do. Here I will just come and say set, which is a function to set a variable, and then I will say set my variable. I'll just say attend. And then how do I set it? I don't use a equals to sign, because the set is a it's a function to set on its own. I'll just say true like this, and then essentially that's what's happening, right? So I will come here, and then under actions, under advanced, I will come and check for visibility. And then the visibility is automatically set to true, right? So I can use my attend variable here to say whenever this is true, then that means I should show. As you can see, now we don't have any text. So I will click play. So this is our app. This is how it looks like. Once I click attend here, then we have good day, Philip. Well, hey, that welcome. Yeah. Okay, I can just come and say, well, hey, and say welcome. Yeah, that's how welcome should be like. Okay. So, and then also, now that is done, you can also select text, right? So I want to say, once you select it, it automatically sets that variable to false. So I'll just say set, and then I'll say set, and then I'll say attend, and then I'll set it to false, so that we have some sort of interaction. Because let me now try and click this, then it disappears, right? And then once I click attend, then it says, good day, Philip, welcome to today's training session, right? And then also to show you some advanced things that you can do. You don't necessarily, we're gonna go through them, so then don't get confused, or whenever you get lost, just know that we will get to pass with it. So I'm just gonna show you how to concatenate one thing. So for now, okay, let me do that. So I just want this text. So I'm gonna consume something from Microsoft. It's one of the connectors, so then you get to see what connectors are used for, right? So for now, it just says good day, and then blank, there's no name, and then welcome to today's training. So this end signs, this two end signs, I don't know, they call them ampersands, something of that sort. Yeah, are the ones that would make this string or this text to be one, right? So here, what do I want to do? I want whoever is logged in. So I don't want to actually just what do we call? I don't want to hard code the name because maybe the app would be used by everyone in this group, for instance, right? So then I want whoever is logged in, whenever they click attend, it will just say good day, whoever is logged in, the name of that person, and then welcome to today's training session. So then how do I do that? I will just say there's this connector I'm gonna use, which is called user. Dot I will just say okay, let me just say user, this one, and then I'll just say full name. Oh, don't know what happened there. Text, that's user dot full name. Yes. So let's look at what gets displayed. That's false. So let's check on the text that we have here. Let me see, user dot full name, like that. Then let's see, we get false. Ooh. Okay, welcome to today. Let me check on that. As you can see, it's getting my name. So let me just do one. Okay, so I don't need to do double ampersand. I can only use one, and then that will concatenate. So if I press now, as you can see, there it is. Okay, let me also put in a space there. And then, as you can see, good day, Philip Anton Koza. Welcome to today's training session. And then once I click that, it disappears. Once I click attend, it shows. So these are the type of things that we're gonna be looking at, and then we will dive deep into the advanced stuff. So yeah, once we have looked at how to create that, how to create tenants for you guys, you can now get to then move into playing around. Play around, do stuff here and there, make apps, and then whenever you get stuck, just let me know where you got stuck, right? So let's move on. So we also have Power Apps Mobile. So Power Apps Mobile for Windows, iOS, and Android device would allow you to use all the apps that you've created and those others have shared with you on your mobile device. So for instance, I've built this small application, right? Well, it doesn't do much. It's just a dummy application, right? But then think of it, once you have built something more meaningful, right? Something that does some sort of complex information, and you want people to also access it in on their phones. What they would need to do is that you won't need to generate any applications or anything. What they need to do is to download Power Apps Mobile, and then after doing that, they just log in with their emails. So all the applications that you have shared with them, they will be able to select them and view them and then interact with those applications live there, right on their mobile device. Okay. And then we have what we call Power Apps Admin Center. And Power Apps Admin Center is the centralized place for managing apps for an organization, right? And then on the side, you can define and manage different environments to house the apps. For example, you might have separate environments for development, production, and production apps. And then additionally, you can define data connections and manage environment roles and data policies, right? So it's very important to have environments. Why? Um, so let's say you are on a development phase where you are developing your app. You should have a separate environment. And then also, once you are done, you should create a production environment. Why do you need that? Is that once your application is live and is being used in the company, whenever there are changes that you need to do, you do them on your development and then test them. Once you have concluded your testing, then you then get to migrate your application to your production environment. This makes sure that whenever you are bringing in new changes, the old application can still work, and then users can still interact with it while you are on this other environment where you are testing, you are implementing, and everything. Then once you are done, you can then move it to production, and then users will only access that production application. The application on the production environment is very, very important because um, if you are trying to maybe fix something and then it crashes, you know that, okay, it's a development environment. I can just do ABC. I don't need to rush anything because it's not live, right? And then you know that, okay, there's a backup on the environment. So if you make a mistake and then lose all your data on your development, you can copy that application from your production and then I take it to development and then change whatever you wanted to change and then move it back to production. It's very, very important, guys. I cannot stress this. And then how you would do that, it's very simple. To go there, you would just say admin dot me dot power apps. I'm trying to think. I think it's this one. Admin. Okay, it's admin.powerplatform.microsoft.com. Okay. I just wanna see admin.powerapps.com. I wanna see if it will direct me to the same thing. Okay, yeah. So basically, you don't need to say admin.powerplatform.microsoft.com. You can just say admin.powerapps.com, and then it will then get the correct link and then take you here. So then this is where your admin center is. You can manage your environments. If you come to environments, that's where now you can see all your environments. You can add new ones. You can delete old ones. For instance, we have Daniel Mukwena's environment. I can delete this one. Um, if it doesn't have any information that is being used at the moment, I can delete this environment and I can essentially add other environments, right? So it's essentially important to know the environments. As you can see, the environment has been, well, okay. The environment initiated the delete process, and then also you should know that the deletion process will take up to 7 days. So this is so that if you made a mistake and you deleted a wrong environment, you can recover it within 7 days. But then if you fail to recover it within 7 days, it will then be permanently deleted to this environment. Okay. And then, yeah, you can see other things, also policies, admin centers that you can work with, and then all your resources, your data integration, and basically analytics, also basically anything that you might wanna do here, it would be here. Okay. And then, yeah, that's it about that Microsoft Power Apps Admin Center. Now let's look at Power Apps related technologies. Microsoft Power Apps works with other technologies to help you build powerful apps for your organization. We have data sources, we have Dataverse, and we have Power Automate. Okay, I think we've stretched this very enough. Dataverse is where you would store your data, and then it's a compliant, scalable data service that's integrated into Power Apps. We have data sources. We have a lot of them, by the way, right? And then without data, you don't have a business, right? And data sources bring cloud and on-premises data into your app. You access data through built-in connections and custom connectors and gateways. And then we also have what? Power Automate. And then Power Automate, which essentially allows you to build automated workflows to receive notification, run processes, collect data, and many more. Right? And then let's get to look at data sources. So in Power Apps, most Canvas apps use external information that is stored in data sources. And a common example is a table in Excel file that is stored on OneDrive for business or SharePoint. Apps, they access this data source by using connections, and some connections allow Power Apps to read, write, and store data in Power Apps. You can add many data sources to your apps through built-in or custom connectors. Some of the most popular data sources are shown in the following figure. As you can see here, we have what common data servers, we have SharePoint, we have SQL data, we have Dynamics 365, we have Microsoft 365 users or Office 365 users, we have Office 365 Outlook, we have Excel, OneDrive for Business, OneDrive, as well as your Dropbox. Okay, and then we have what we call Dataverse. Now, Dataverse lets you store and manage data used by business applications. And data is stored within a set of tables. And then it includes a base set of standard tables that cover typical scenarios. And then we have customer tables, which can be created specific or custom tables, which can be created specifically to your or to meet your specific organization need. We have app makers, um, which then can use Power Apps to build rich applications by using that data. Okay, now let's look at reasons to use the Dataverse. We have standard and custom tables provided, or rather standard and custom tables. They provide a cloud-based storage option to your data. We have what we call, they are simple to manage, and it helps to secure your data. You can access Dynamics 365 data. You can have rich metadata. And then you also have logic and validation. This would make sure that you have consistency in data. And then we have productivity tools. Okay. And then productivity tools, tables available within add-ins for Microsoft Excel to increase productivity and ensure accessibility. Okay, so now I want to show you guys a little bit of the connectors, right? And also, we have about an hour or so. What I want to do is to actually let me ask first, do we have any questions? By the show of hands, do we have any questions? Do we have any comments? If we left you out, just let us know so that we can bring you up to speed. Okay. So, as you can see, we've covered extensively everything for module 1, right? And I wish to actually just get to show you guys now how to create this Canvas app, right? And then or rather just make you guys find your feet within. So the second module will be creating a model-driven app, and then the third one would be creating a Canvas app. So I wouldn't want to jump the steps. What I would do now is just show you guys how to make sure that you have your tenants ready so that you can now start looking at this Power Apps, Power Platform, looking at various things that you can do with it. Okay. So let me now get. So how do you do that? Firstly, I will share the link now. All you need to do is I will search on your behalf Microsoft 365 E5 plan. E5 plan. Okay, and then here I will just click trial. And then this is essentially what I should share with you guys. Okay, so since while I'm logged in here, let me just try an incognito so that it doesn't give me problems. Microsoft or rather Office. Okay, and then I'll click that Office 365 E5. And then I will click on this trial. Okay, so I'll share this link. So please do I will show you the steps that you need to follow, and then once the session is done, please do follow it so that you can have your tenant up and running so that you can also get to practice. So here I will provide my email. Okay. And then to get you started, you'll provide your Gmail account and then you will tick next. And then looks like, and then you will just click that to create your account. And then here, what I will do, I would provide my information. The company here, it would be a fictional company. So it would be more like your company name, right? So each and every one should have at least some sort of name that they are thinking of. For me, I have what? I would just say Philip dash dev. And then it's just one person. I would like to, okay, I don't want that. And then, yeah, after providing that information, they would need to verify you. So you should provide a working number. Okay, and then after that, I will then get to provide my verification code. Okay. And then now that I have provided that, as you can see, so it's very important for providing your company name. Make sure it's a bit unique so that your domain becomes something else, something as simpler or definitely. And can we please mute our mics? I'd appreciate that. Okay. So yeah, I'm creating now an account where now I'll get to log in. So I will then say Philip something. Oh, okay. So let me just say something like that. All right, and then I'll click next. Oh, something went wrong. Okay. Let me just try and refresh. Oh man. That's Philip Dev. Click next. Next. Okay, let's wait for that verification. Okay, I'm waiting for the verification. So please bear with me. Let me try the previous one. Maybe it might work. Okay. While we're waiting for this verification code, do we have, okay, I see T Matloung. You can go ahead.
Like it just switched off. Like I can't see it.
Pardon?
Like I can't see your screen, sir.
Can everyone confirm if they can see my screen?
Yes, sir. I can see your screen.
Okay.
I also
Yes, I
can see
can
your
see it.
screen.
Okay, so T Matloung, let me try and stop and reshare just so that maybe you can be able to see. I think, yeah, everyone can see my screen now. Just give it a few minutes. If it doesn't show, it should show in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, and then let's create the password, right? And then, oh man, now this is gonna give me. Which email should I use? I'm thinking of another email that I can use. It could be because of that. Because I already used that one. Okay, let me just say Philip Dev. Okay, it's Philip at philip-dev.com. Okay, it's Philip Dev. It's only me. Click next. Hey, and then let me provide also a different number. Okay, 060-966-8879, something along those lines. Okay. Okay, let me try again because I'm too many requests. Please wait, try again later. Okay, let me just get a call. Okay, let me just 72781237. Just get a. Ah, man. So essentially, yeah, we were about to just come here and then provide the information, but then since well, it's just taking time to provide this whole thing. 060. Let me try it one last time, but I have to wait a bit. 8879, something of that sort. Okay, and then here I will provide my credentials, my login credentials. And then also I only want my name. It's Philip at philipdev.onmicrosoft.com. Okay. Ooh. Okay. SpongeBob. Yeah, no. Please do try it on your site. I'm not sure if it's my connectivity or there's something wrong with their site or something. But then once you are done, you will then get to log in. And let me try and show you guys once you are logged in, where actually do you log in. So essentially, you just say make.powerapps.com. It will say sign in, obviously, and then you would provide that email that you created. So for now, I'm just going to provide my own IT Think email, and then as well as that one, or maybe just .co.za, something of this sort. It just should be something of this sort as well. Yeah, so you would have to provide some sort of email and password that you have created from here, and then you would be good to go. Okay, so for now, just skip that. And then once you are in here, you can practice, just try creating it from different types of data sources. Now I just chose to create it from. I chose to create from SharePoint, right? But then I have this ability to create from. Look at all these connectors that I have: SQL Server, Teradata, User Voice, Zendesk. Not even sure what that is. And then we have PostgreSQL, Oracle database, OneDrive. We have a lot of connectors, right? So for now, what I'm gonna just choose is this one, and then I'm gonna use directly with cloud service, and then it will look for SharePoint and then try and get some information. So because this one I don't have any information, it wouldn't give me anything, right? But then let me try and create something smaller. SharePoint. Okay, I can just come here and more in SharePoint here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna create a new site to show you guys how you can connect to one. So I'll just say PL100 training, something of that sort. File address available with modification. Okay, then I'm gonna click next. I'm gonna click finish. So I have this site, and then here I'm just gonna create a list. A list is more like an Excel thing, an Excel almost like Excel list where you would store data, but then this data, I don't want to build all the columns from scratch. You see, I can build it from Excel or from existing list, or I can just use a template, right? So for now, I'm trying to see which one I can use. Work progress tracker, something of this sort. Okay, and then I'm gonna use that. Oh, I canceled. Yes, now that I have created something, I need to refresh everything. Okay, essentially, let me refresh this whole thing. Okay, so we are creating an application based on a SharePoint list. Okay, so we should have sites here. So if I don't have it, all I can do. Okay, please give me a few seconds. Okay, so as you can see, I've searched for that site, and then now I have this work progress tracker, which can be, which is essentially my data source, right? So I'm gonna select it, and then I think there's a button here, but then I can't see it. You see now. So I will just zoom out a little bit and I'll click connect. Now, once I've clicked connect, it will essentially create an app for me. I don't need to do it from scratch, but essentially everything that I need in this app, it will be automatically created. So what is this app all about? Tracking the progress of a project, right? So I'm gonna skip this and I'm gonna click play. Your app, you can click play. So now what's work progress tracker? It doesn't have any data here. So I'm gonna click add title, let's say training. Let it have some sort of meaning, PL 100 training, or rather, let's just say it's first PL 100 first training, and then it's introduction to Power Platform. And then the category, this just says engineering. And the progress, we would just say in progress. The priority is very critical. The start date is today's date, and then the end date should be today's date as well. Okay, and then this is assigned to Philip. And then I click enter. So this is essentially an app, and you can see it's more of built for mobile view. So what's this about? If you are a project manager, essentially, you can get to track your employees on what are they working on, what are they doing. So if my manager was to log in, would then get to see, okay, There's PL 100 first training, and then it's introduction to Power Platform. It is in progress. If they click here, they can see all the details about it, the date, and then who it is assigned to. And then if they want to edit, they can basically edit the information and then do whatever they want to do. And then they will just click the done button or the tick there. And then I can also add another one, which is MB 100 or something, first training. So here essentially you can see that training, you can see that we actually didn't do much, right? So the app was automatically created. It's because you were creating it from what? From a data source. So Power Apps has this intelligence to look at whatever data that you are feeding it, and then it can give you sort of an app out of that, right? And then if it doesn't necessarily meet, your, if it doesn't meet what? If it doesn't meet your actual, okay, I see someone got disconnected. Okay, I guess they're admitted now. Okay, so if you don't like, maybe let's not say you don't like, but then you prefer to add a specific field, prefer to add specific columns or information that you would want to require, then it's fine. You can still come here and then you can come to your screen here, can zoom it in, and then if you want to add something, you can come and insert, click insert. Let's say I just want to insert a date picker. We have a date picker, it's here on top. I can now come and put it down there, put a label and everything. But then the most professional way of doing it, especially when you're working with a list or with SharePoint, you would come to your SharePoint, you would add that specific column that you want to add. Let me just say edit column. Column here. Now I'm going to click save. And then also what I want to do is to make sure that my app is saved. So what I would do now is to come here and then first thing first, I would refresh because I recently added a column. So then in order for my column then to be visible, I need to refresh to make sure that it pulls in the information. Not now. The app is already created. So if I come to app, that's the one. Oof, I should have clicked edit instead of edit. So here is the actual app here. You can't edit, you can only see what's happening on the app. Okay, don't show this again, please. So I want to add that column. So I'll come to where the form is, right? And then I will make sure that I click that form. And then I will go to fields and I'll click edit fields and then I will add that field. So here here it is, edit column, and then I click add. And then you should be able to see it down there. So if now I click play, then I go below, you can see I have an edit column. I can type whatever I want there. Let's say testing, something of that sort. And then I will click that to save. And then once it's saved, I'm not sure even if it's saved or what, because it's just staring at me. Okay. Don't show me this again. Gonna play, and then I'm gonna come to MB100, and then I'm gonna click edit. And then as you can see, we have that testing information. And if you go to our database, we have that testing information added there. So yeah, essentially that's how you would, and also if you don't prefer a specific columns, you can remove them if you don't like the color. So I don't like this blue thing, right? What I can do then is to kind of try and find a theme. So how you would get a theme? The theme is supposed to be somewhere near. Oh, there it is. You can change it to a nicer theme, but if it does no theme that's nice, then you can definitely style it by your own, right? For now, I just have this blue, black, darker theme. Looks fine, but if you don't prefer it, you can essentially change it. You can change it to whatever you would prefer, right? Let's say you want it to be something of the sort. Even though it doesn't make sense why you would want it to be like that, you still have a choice to do that, right? So yeah, essentially that's just go play around with it, because remember on that one that we did, it doesn't necessarily have much, right? But then we looked at how you can show and hide a specific thing. Here we have multiple screens. We are navigating from a lot of screens. So just do something of the sort. So practice that. And then also, since I have screens here, I'm just going to show you how to navigate so that you can get yourself ahead, right? So here I'm going to add another button, right? That other button would be for us to just navigate. Or rather, I can still when I paste this, something of that sort. Okay, and then essentially I'm gonna also cut that and then come and paste it here. So for now, we're just gonna look at this and then what's this and how does it work? So here, what I wanna do now is to say once I click attend, I navigate, I don't set anything. So what you would do, you would just use something called navigate, and then you should know your screen. I will just say about, and then that about screen will appear here. It can be fine like this, but then if you prefer some motions, some sort of animated stuff, you would add a semicolon and then the transition that you would want your screen to have, right? So for now it's fade. So once I click this, the screen has to fade and then the other one will then appear. So I'll click attend, and then because it's one and the same thing, you won't see the difference. So once I get in here, I will just say training app, and then I will say about, something of the sort. And then also you would notice that the button will disappear. So if I click that, then I get to navigate to the next screen. Okay, so yeah, basically that's a smaller thing that you can do, but then there are definitely a lot of things. So my request is just go practice, man. Try whatever you are thinking. And then if you are experiencing some challenges, do let me know. Okay. And then also we have a PL100 GitHub. Let me just say Microsoft Learn. Okay. Then I remove that. I will share with you. So this will be a guided. This would guide you guys on what kind of practicals do you want to do, and then all you need to do is to be in lab files, and then you would follow all this here. So for now, I mean, for now we've already covered what? We've already covered module 1, and for module 1, I don't think we have much. This is what for design the solution. Okay, so this would give you some sort of planning of the application that we will get to build going forward. So just go through this, understand the scenario, understand what they're trying to do, and then look at how relationships are built between tables, and then how do they relate to each other, so that whenever we are moving and then we are trying to create some app, you are already familiar with all the terms and then which steps to take, right? So I'm gonna just try and share the link. Since we've covered module 1, just go through this lab 01 design. I plead with you guys, it's very, very important for you to be familiar with these things. Okay, and then let me post it in the group. And essentially that's it for today's lesson. Do we have any questions? Okay, since we don't have any questions, we can now call it a day. Please do let me know wherever you get stuck. Do create those tenants, log in, try creating stuff, try playing around, so that whenever we come, it becomes easier for you to grasp whatever we are doing. Okay, we can adjourn. Thank you, Tim.